Hello, and welcome to Creative Outcomes. This is a podcast about homeschooling, unschooling, alternative ed, and most importantly, soul self-directed learning. And today I'm with my friend Judith Hurst, and we are going to talk about how to foster your child's psychic abilities. And you're probably like, wait, what? What does that have to do with anything? Yes, it's completely off the charts, but I know for myself, I believe in mind, body, spirit, and I also believe we are all gods. Even when you were born, nothing to be filled, you're already full. And it's just coming to recognize that we all have the abilities, capabilities, and how we can, as parents, teachers, etc., foster that in children. So, yeah, I don't know, Judith, how should we start this? Like, I have many stories.
Yeah, where do we begin? I love how you segued into that from our previous conversations, which the listeners aren't privy to, but you and I have explored often this idea of children are already 100% connected to the oneness. Mm-hmm. And it's only the conditioned mind that doesn't see that. So children, of course, are completely unconditioned. They are literally tabula rasa. They are clean slates, and they will accept anything into their consciousness, anything, correct, including a parent's story who says, you're crap and you're stupid and you're worthless. The clean slate will go, oh, okay. And in it goes into the consciousness.
Into the consciousness.
And that child will go, oh, okay, so I'm useless.
Wow, that's really powerful, Judith, that you went there.
Yeah, because that clean slate is just waiting for information to go in.
Correct.
And so it will accept any story it's given.
Yeah. And I think, and we've talked about this before, the brain is a computer. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have the mind, right? The conscious mind, and then we have the brain. And the brain is just a computer.
A computer.
Yeah. And it will take in, even my husband and I have this discussion, and they've done many studies about it, that it easily will grab the negative prior to the positive. And so I think when, in this idea of how to foster a child's psychic abilities, that I would say the best advice is not to hinder it. If they say they see something, if they're having communications, like, of course, we always go to, well, that's their imaginary friend. Well, could be a little more than that.
But I want to, you said the magic word there, imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we start to understand that it's all imagination, our entire existence is imagined.
Yeah,
so that we start to let go of the pejorative of imagination, and we start embracing that, yes, imagine it's all imagination.
Correct. And I a friend of mine who has written many books, she always talks about the ION. So if we think of imagination, right, imagine at the ion level, right? It takes us into a deeper meaning, right? We have this ability to imagine, to create, right? And perceive, but at the ion level, right? At the cellular level.
Yeah.
It could be from past lives, from memories, from timelines. I mean, who knows where it comes from? Or it could just be true connection. You and I have always shared this, our experiences, your near-death experiences, mine were through dreams and visions that are the unexplainable. It wasn't just a dream. Like even when my father passed, to connect with him, to hear him in my ear. And he says, I said, just can you just talk to me or show up? I just miss you. And there he is in my ear. I'm right here, Tracy. I sit up in bed and I shake my husband and I said, he's here.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
Because that is the reality.
Yes.
That is what is true. It is not made up. Our brains didn't make it up.
But let's be clear about what we mean when we say making things up. Because we tend to think the words "we make things up." We immediately jump to "we," parentheses, people, make things up, parentheses, just imagination, therefore not
true. Yeah, not true.
Real.
Yeah, correct.
But when we go back to the absolute starting point of nothingness, of no thingness, which is what we ultimately are, we come from a place of no thing, ergo pure potential.
Love it.
There's no thing until we imagine it.
Connecting the potential back to the I am, right? That electricity, that energy that we are all made of, that we're all connected to.
Yeah, because it's one.
Yeah, that's correct, because it's one.
It's only one moment across all time space.
Yes.
So that took, in the 3D sense, a long time, for me to really understand this notion of one moment, until I actually had the experience and everything was now. It's
that
so
kind of tears me up a little bit. It is, and we always talk about this.
But words are all we have as 3D human beings. So all we can do is try to bump up as close as we can to it.
Yes.
And if we read any of the great sages' works, they're ultimately just in words, which isn't quite it. So I would love to encourage everyone to just explore that feeling of what Stephen Colbert used to call truthiness, which I think is hilarious. But it's a great word, because truth with a capital T can't be put into words.
Correct.
So it can only be put into lowercase t, truth, or truthiness. And that gets us as close as possible. But in terms of education and supporting young learners from a parent's perspective, it's such a great reminder to see them, as you've often said, as little gods, which is what they are. They are a piece of God.
And if I can,
G word is difficult for people because it very often triggers some kind of religious context. And it did for me for many, many years, because I had zero religious belief or affiliation or anything. But I've come to understand that if that word is a word that works for someone and translates as the all, the oneness, the
universe,
miracle,
energy, right?
Put in whichever word works for you. It's going to be in a different language.
But consider the clean slate, and I love that.
Yes.
And if I can just intervene for a second, and I hope I always can convey this experience with our listeners. And even in I write about this in my book, but I don't think even it expresses my own personal experience, whether it's with my own children, especially when they were young, or other children, or I love my special needs students, what people would say is, the severely disabled, I when I'm in front of them, I am clear that it's like I'm a participant. So it's like they're there. I step back and I literally just feel, experience that I am a participant. I am an audience member, that they have the reins, and whatever it is they're trying to convey, express, is coming from their soul.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that it's such a special place. And I think that's what's always been different. Like, even if I found myself getting in my head, I would say, oh, wait a second, like, just let them be, let them do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even has to do anything with unschooling. This is as a teacher, and I taught special needs preschool, and to allow children to just express themselves as full divinity,
Yes,
is just creates this. And I don't know why. Isn't this funny? Because I'm here having this conversation with you, and I go, yeah, why is it so easy for me to do with kids? But then, life happens, and you're with your husband, and right, our egos connect, and you're like, that's gone. But sorry, that was just my little joke about that. But it's funny how
it's a really important point, though. Thank you, Tracy. That's really good, because we tend, as educators, we tend to put things in lovely Lego boxes. Look what I made with my Lego. I made this box, and it doesn't work that way, because Parker Palmer's work, The Courage to Teach, is such a beautiful book, because it talks about how it's soul work. It's not, then the child behaves this way that we learnt in school, as in teacher school. It's like, no, then you get in the classroom and you bring with you the husband issue, or the next door neighbor issue, or the cat issue, or the what. It all comes part and parcel of our experience, because we're souls. We're not isolated beings in cling film, that when we get to the classroom, then we are a different soul. We're all one being. And if we come from home where we've just had an amazing laugh with our husband or wife or whomever, and that joy is so expansive, we're going to have one experience in the classroom. And if we've had the opposite, we're going to have a different experience. So I think it's super important not to negate, not to try to say, I am in the classroom and that is when I am a teacher, or when I'm in a classroom, that is when I am learning.
Right.
Our energy field expands many, many city blocks.
So perfect, because you use the word learning, not the student learning. And so that's where that was the thing in my head, is what am I learning? And so when I have a student or a child or a special needs kid, right, who cannot communicate, and what are you going to show me today? It's not about what am I here to teach you, but what are you going to show me today? Like, wow, because that's where I think is the role reversal. Right? It isn't just this theory of I'm going to allow you're free to explore. No. It's like, ooh, right? Like, wow, you don't have a lot of conditional thoughts yet, which they eventually will as they grow up within the society, because they are here. But what are you going to show me today? Like, because I just know it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And if you need my help, I'll be there. And,
I love that so much.
Yeah.
We could take it even further and say, not what are you going to show me, but what will Spirit reveal
nice.
to us?
Yeah, to us.
An interaction. And then it takes it to an even more profound level, I think. Well, more profound, less profound, it's all sacred. It's all, I'm excited to see the evolution eventually of all of these systems breaking down, and educational ones especially, because I think that's where so much damage is done.
Agreed.
Whereas children identify, well, you and I both know about the education system being so punitive, and we're certainly a long, long way from that being just, oh, we don't need school
But
anymore.
not even this. I will share, not to, again, I don't want to make what's right or wrong, but, there are schools that are spiritual schools that say, well, we're going to teach you how to use your psychic abilities. Well, I would say, you already have them. Let's play.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's a difference, because again, it's like saying, oh, you don't have them and I need to show you. Again, you already have it.
Yeah. That's such a great point, because it's exactly how all learning happens.
Yeah.
You don't say to a child, today I'm going to show you how to crawl.
Right.
The baby looks at you and goes, yeah, I'm crawling, thanks. I got it.
Right. Yeah.
And then you don't say, tomorrow we're going to learn walking. It's a natural unfoldment of grace, ultimately. The whole of our lives is that progression and expansion of grace. So I'm so happy that we're shifting from this sage on the stage model of
Nice.
I'm the teacher and I'm going to show you and teach you, to the other way round, to eventually just everything unfolding. And we won't have words like special needs children. All of those words like, trigger, trigger, trigger.
That's what I love about this whole transgender identification, because for me, and I have heard people, their thoughts about him, but for me, spiritually it's an opportunity to accept somebody as they are.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm going to show up like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we willing to do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's such, and even things like the only TV show I think I've ever watched on Netflix, or I don't know, but it's on Netflix, and it's a show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Oh, yeah.
And at first I thought, I'll just watch some bubblegum. And then I realized, this is such a beautiful thing.
Love it, yeah.
How many people who are being exposed to this completely different way of thinking. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
that the networks are doing things like this. And we can look at different shapes and sizes of love. And
if we can, if we can offer a parent just maybe a few bullet points, I would say some advice here. I think the most important thing, the first thing I would say is be open.
Yes.
Allow, beautiful. Allow. That's a very, just be in that space. Allow. If that space, like if you could feel allow, there's different. And it's not a right and wrong. So don't judge, and even allow and let it unfold. So like when my son's, speaking to my dead father and having knock jokes, and I can't hear the other response, and he's laughing hysterically, and I'm like, who are you talking to? And he goes, Judgy, he's right there, can't you see him? And of course I'm trying to drive and not burst into tears, and I'm like, no. And I think if we just, to me, like, we could miss out on so many beautiful experiences. And so just allow, let it unfold, and embrace.
It's so perfect, isn't it? And allow is a word, and I want to rewind a little bit, because allow often gets misinterpreted as, so just allow my kids to play with knives.
Right.
And so I want to make sure that I clarify, I'm not condoning allowing anything. Here's a sharp knife, go play. No, but the allowing of their soul to express itself without
Lovely.
judgment. Yeah. So
Perfect.
if they do see fairies or unicorns or
And having
whatever
conversations,
if their truth is whatever, we just allow that.
correct.
With no judgment, which is what I meant by allow.
Yeah. We are winding down here to the last few minutes. Judith, any books? Now, I want to tell people, like, any books you could think of. What is the one? It's not The Secret. It was about the little girls, and they went into the forest in England, and it had to do with Houdini. I remember that when I was little, and they were talking to the fairies. And I always thought, oh, that's one of my favorite. Even the Harry Potter, I truly believe in the connection. I know Harry Potter can go dark sometime, but I think it's believing in the magic.
Are you asking books for children or books for adults?
Both.
Because in terms of awakening, I think my favorite would have to be Lester Levenson's book, Happiness is Free and Easier Than You Think.
Oh, beautiful.
And Lester Levenson, just reading his story, and it's an easy to read book. It's not a heavy tome of educational or psychological anything.
Right.
It's such a light and joyful and accessible read. I want to highly, highly recommend it to everyone.
Perfect.
Happiness is Free and It's Easier Than You Think by Lester Levenson. And his story, I'll mention just briefly. He was about to die. A very wealthy man, very, very wealthy man, riddled with disease until his physician finally said, game over. Mm-hmm. You are literally about to die. He had every disease, every issue you could imagine. And they said you could literally take a couple of steps and that would be it. And he went home, and at first he was terrified. And then when the terror settled, he said, okay, if I'm going to die, I will at least work out why I have never been happy. I have all this money and I've never been happy. And so he set to work digging deep to let go of stuff. And he literally cured himself 100%, had a spiritual awakening, it's so beautiful. So Lester Levenson is his name, and his work is on the internet, and you can find his books, and etc. etc. So nice. Yes, wanted to put that in there.
I love it. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions for us, please reach out. We're happy to work with you as consultants, as friends.
Yeah, I was going to say friends. Consultant sounds so serious. I'm happy to talk to anyone.
And I'm so glad Judith and I are back on air. And next week I have Carl coming back to talk about how he unschooled the school or not. How that worked for him. But yeah, please reach out. Check out my website, tracybrooker.com. If you want to get a hold of Judith, it's Judith Hurst, HURST.com, correct?
Yeah.
And yeah, I look forward to our new discussions. We're kind of getting more into the spiritual stuff, and I hope that's okay with you. And we're having fun with it. And hopefully, yeah, if you have any questions and you would like us, as a topic too, you want us to talk about, please send that, our way through the website. We'd happy to share our experiences and hopefully help you through any obstacles you might be experiencing. So thank you. Have a good week, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thanks, Tracy. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Outcomes Podcast. And if you'd like to learn more, go to my website at tracybrooker.com.